In this hearing, Senator Jacky Rosen confronted Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth over allegations of anti-Semitism and political interference inside the Pentagon. But what made this moment unforgettable wasn't just the words, it was the silence, the smirk, and the evasive answers that followed. This was a rare glimpse into how power operates behind polished titles, where influence, image, and ideology collide in plain sight.
Senator Rosen, you're recognized. I thought I would just create a stir down there.
No, I thank you to my seatmates on both sides. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We take care of each other. And again, thank you, Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, for holding this hearing, Mr. Secretary. We have a short amount of time, so I'm just going to ask a few simple questions, and I would just appreciate if, for some of them, you would just answer yes or no. And so, Secretary Hegseth, would you agree that every senior official in the Department of Defense must reflect the values and conduct that our service members must uphold and our citizens expect?
Senator, we want to uphold the highest possible standards.
I'll take that for a yes. So would you also agree, then, that anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories have no place in our government or military? Yes or no?
They should not.
Thank you. So would you also agree that anyone who has posted, and I'm going to quote, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories lifted right out of a neo-Nazi playbook, end quote, shouldn't be anywhere near a position of power? Yes or no?
Since I don't believe the characterization of many officials in the news media, I would need to see precisely what's being characterized.
But generally, would you not say that if
generally
we
speaking,
thought something
sure,
was coming out of a neo-Nazi playbook, it doesn't have any place in our Department of Defense? Now, Secretary Hegseth, the quote that I just read you was referencing Ms. Kingsley Wilson, the DOD press secretary. It's a direct quote from her, who my Republican colleagues on this committee have also expressed alarm over due to her comments. In fact, one colleague said, and I'm going to quote again, "Obviously, I don't agree with her comments. I trust the Pentagon will address this," end quote. However, in the months since, not only have you not addressed these anti-Semitic comments, you have promoted Ms. Wilson. This seems to be at odds, honestly, with President Trump's commitment, very public commitment, to combat anti-Semitism, which you just said you two agreed with. So, Secretary Hegseth, given the rise in anti-Semitic violence, hate crimes in our nation, and to show that the Trump administration, your administration, does have a zero-tolerance policy for anti-Semitism, will you dismiss Ms. Kingsley from her role as a U.S. military spokesperson today, yes or no?
Again, that's why I referenced the context and characterization.
Well, we'll send you the quote,
I've worked directly with her. She does a fantastic job, and there's any suggestion that I or her or others are party to anti-Semitism is a mischaracterization attempting to win political points.
Sir, and I'm going to say
Senator, you're attempting to win political points on the backs of mischaracterizing the statements of a member of my department, and I'm not going to stand for that.
You are not a serious person. You are not serious about rooting out, fighting anti-Semitism within the ranks of our DOD. It's despicable. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to move on to General Hawk. The sudden inexplicable dismissal of General Hawk. He serves as both director of the National Security Agency, commander of U.S. Cybercom. It's deeply concerning, raises significant questions about the decision-making process, its potential consequences. Public reports indicate that the removal of General Hawk, who has served his country proudly, has been influenced by social media influencer, a personality on social media, Laura Loomer, spreads conspiracy theories. She's been denounced even by Republicans. And the idea is that any leaders within our agencies responsible for our nation's security, somebody would be dismissed based on the advice of a social media influencer is alarming, to say the least. It's surely not how we should be running our military. So were you consulted regarding General Hawk's dismissal, yes or no?
Well, Senator, I would not advise believing everything you read in the media. And I'm consulted on every single decision.
Okay,
I'm the decision maker for the department, and we all serve at the pleasure of the president. And we have the prerogative to make those decisions the best for the country, and we did that.
Did you personally approve Mr. Hawk's dismissal, yes or no?
Anyone coming or going at the Defense Department, especially at that level, would ultimately be a decision made by me, and I stand behind that.
Did you personally relieve him? Did you personally relieve him? Yes or no?
Anyone at that level
You did,
who is
so that's a
relieved
yes.
would be relieved by the Secretary of Defense.
Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal? Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal?
Ma'am, we all serve at the pleasure of the President, and the President deserves the type of
true?
commanders and advisors that he thinks will best
Did you
equip him
discuss General
to
Hawk's
accomplish the
dismissal with
mission.
Laura Loomer prior to his removal?
I don't discuss who I talk about anything with, but ultimately this is my decision, and he serves at the pleasure of the President, and that's why he's no longer there.
So do you believe it's appropriate for any social media personality to influence personnel decisions in your department, yes or no?
I believe your time is up, Senator.
Oh, it is not up to you to tell me when my time is up.
Well, the time
And I am
the
going to say,
senator-
Mr. Secretary, you're either feckless or complicit. You're not in control of your department. This is unserious. It is shocking. You're not combating anti-Semitism within your ranks. It's a dangerous and pivotal time in our nation's history. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. And I don't appreciate the smirk, sir. You are the Secretary of Defense.
The time of the gentlelady has expired.
This exchange between Senator Jacky Rosen and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth wasn't just heated, it revealed something deeper about political loyalty, accountability, and the serious implications of leadership decisions inside the Department of Defense. Senator Rosen begins with direct, pointed questions, the kind that demand clarity, not deflection. Her focus is on the moral and ethical standards of those serving in top defense positions, especially when allegations of anti-Semitism arise. She presses Secretary Hegseth to affirm basic values, that anti-Semitism and hate have no place in the U.S. government or military. But what begins as a straightforward exchange quickly unravels into tension and evasion. Rosen cites a specific case, the controversy surrounding DoD Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson, accused of sharing anti-Semitic conspiracy theories lifted right out of a neo-Nazi playbook. It's a serious charge, one that would normally demand a strong, unequivocal stance. Instead, Hegseth deflects, questioning the characterization and insisting that Wilson does a fantastic job. For Rosen, and for anyone watching, that response wasn't just inadequate, it was alarming. Her frustration boils over as Hegseth accuses her of playing politics. At that moment, the tone shifts from a policy discussion to a confrontation about integrity itself. Rosen's anger isn't theatrical. It reflects the exasperation of someone watching institutional responsibility give way to defensiveness and partisanship. She reminds Hegseth that this is not a trivial matter. Anti-Semitism within the ranks of the U.S. military or indifference toward it has real-world consequences, especially amid a documented rise in hate crimes across the country. But the clash doesn't stop there. Rosen moves to another troubling issue, the reported dismissal of General Hawk, a senior cyber defense leader, allegedly influenced by far-right social media personality Laura Loomer. For a nation that entrusts its military with national security and cyber defense, even the perception that personnel decisions could be swayed by internet influencers raises serious questions about how the Department of Defense is being run. When Rosen presses Hegseth on whether he personally approved Hawk's removal and whether Loomer had any input, the secretary refuses to give a clear answer. Instead, he falls back on political boilerplate. We all serve at the pleasure of the president. For Rosen, that's unacceptable. Her sharp rebuke, "You're either feckless or complicit," captures the gravity of what's at stake. This isn't just political theater. It's a moment that forces viewers to confront the uncomfortable reality of how blurred the lines between governance and influence have become. What does it mean when defense decisions, from personnel to messaging, appear vulnerable to ideological favoritism or social media pressure? When public servants tasked with protecting democracy appear to sidestep accountability for extremist behavior within their ranks, it raises a chilling question about who's really steering the ship. By the time Rosen says, "I don't appreciate the smirk, sir, you are the Secretary of Defense," the emotion in her voice cuts through the noise. It's not just about disrespect, it's about the erosion of seriousness in an office that demands it. This confrontation is a reminder that defending democracy isn't only about military might, it's about moral courage, the willingness to confront hate, demand accountability, and resist the normalization of extremist influence in the highest levels of power. Subscribe to Left Lens for clear-eyed political breakdowns, investigative commentary, and deep analyses that go beyond the surface, where we unpack not just what happened, but why it matters.